Hi everybody, my name is Rich Buttiglieri. I'm the Director of Design for Higher Ed at Pearson Education. And I'm going to talk to you today about different ideas for mentoring new or junior UX practitioners. And this is based on a lot of experience I've had mentoring junior staff and research associates at both companies and at universities. We primarily focus on the stuff that you can't really master just by reading about it in a book. We want to practice some common methods that we all use in evaluating or designing our screens. And those two methods that we primarily focus on is running usability tests. So we focus on those people skills that you need for successfully moderating a usability study, and also the data analysis and writing skills that you need to be able to deliver your message to your stakeholders. So the first thing we do with each junior staff, we'd run a mock usability test before we got to work on a real corporate product. And this is all about the facilitation to be able to practice thinking on your feet. We'd let them pick a site of their own that they want to evaluate, and we ask them to write a few tasks, 3 or 4 tasks. The session itself does get recorded so that it can help with the debrief later. And either the mentor or a helper would act as the participant, and we just have them start out as a normal participant going through the first few tasks. But then, to make it a little bit more interesting, a little more challenging, and a little more realistic, we have the participant act out some more difficult personalities, but also very common ones we run into. So I'm going to describe a few of the personalities we do and see if you recognize any of these personalities. People are already laughing. Here's the first one. We call it the talker. The talker is the personality that just gives too much information, makes it really hard for the moderator to ask their questions. They're also very well known for going off task. It makes it really hard to bring them back onto task to give you the feedback that you want. But in the end, you get lots of great data from this personality, but you feel really exhausted afterwards. Then we throw another curveball at them in the same session, and we do the complete opposite of the talker. And that person, in 2, 1, is the cold fish. This personality is the one that is completely opposite. They don't give away any information. They make it really difficult to get any of their feedback. This is what goes on in your head as a mentor or as a moderator. You're thinking one thing, but you have to say something completely neutral and different. The cold fish gives you really short answers, really vague answers, and keeps you on your toes as a moderator to be able to ask those open-ended questions. And the last curveball we typically throw is the self-blamer. This is the person who doubts they're being helpful at all in a usability test. I'm sure people have seen this person 1 or 2 times over. They think all of the task failures are their fault. They often say things like, "It's me, I'm being stupid," or, "Well, once I figured it out, it was easy." You know, and at the end of the session, these are the ones that struggle through every task, and when you ask how it was, they say, "Oh, it was great." It makes it really hard to say what's really on your mind in those sessions. But once we've got through all of those different personalities, we review our notes to tell them how well they did at moderating these particular situations. We show the videos where they did well as where they asked leading questions or maybe missed an open opportunity to ask another probing question. It's all about the facilitation at this level, though. The next technique we work on is practicing heuristic review, and it's mainly to focus on the analysis and report writing. Something that most junior practitioners need a lot of help with is business writing. And again, like the usability test, the mock test, we have them pick a site that they want, preferably something that the mentor already knows about, so we don't have to go and do another heuristic review each and every time. And once they've picked a site, typically it's the first time they've done a heuristic review, so we work together initially, and we just set the stage, set the context, walk them through the product a little bit, and then we set them off to work on the tasks, work on the review by themselves and document their findings. We usually try to limit that to a few hours, so it's not about writing a full report, it's really about the clarity of it. When they come back to us, we have them discuss their findings as though they were holding a debrief meeting with their stakeholders, and the mentors act as the stakeholder and ask for clarifying questions if the report is vague or hard to understand. And we often tell them when they've been too nitpicky or missed some major points as well. It's these softer skills that really help you practice in a trial situation that's much more real world. And the last thing we typically do is, as Bob said earlier, is we do career counseling. I mean, we as mentors really help to identify the strengths of junior staff and try to guide them on where they should go, especially if they're not their boss. And in the case where we're working with interns or grad students, we actually conduct mock interviews to pretend as though we're interviewing them for a job. And we ask those crazy questions we all got asked when we interview for jobs. And then we give them some feedback afterwards. It might not work for every situation, but it's really helpful when you're mentoring junior staff. Thank you.